Call this meeting to order. Welcome. It's the Board of Directors meeting for Thursday, December 11th. And would you get the roll, please?
Yes, Director Sailors.
Present.
Director Gould.
Present.
Director Stark.
Here.
Director Weber.
Here.
Director Wood.
Here.
Director Costa.
Here.
Director Clark. Director Rice is not here. Director Jones.
Here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Director Stark, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director. We'll start with the Metro Cable announcement. This meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District is being recorded. The recording will be cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV Uverse cable systems. Recording will also be captioned and video streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays at 6 o'clock on Monday, the 15th of December, and again at 6 o'clock on Wednesday, the 17th of December on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/MetroCable14. Next is the public opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within the district's jurisdiction, whether on the agenda or not. Do we have any speakers?
I have no speaker cards. If there's anyone in the audience wishing to make a public comment, please raise your hand. Also on Zoom, if you are wishing to make a public comment, please use the raise your hand feature. No public comments. Thank you.
We'll move on now to the consent calendar. Do we have any questions on the consent?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we adopt consent.
Second.
All right, I've got a first and a second. Can we get the roll, please?
Yes, Director Sailors.
Aye.
Director Gould.
Aye.
Director Stark.
Aye.
Director Clark.
Aye.
Director Jones.
Aye.
Director Weber.
Aye.
Director Costa.
Aye.
President Wood.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. The consent calendar is adopted.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on. Tonight, we're gathered to commemorate a significant milestone in our history, one that reflects our unwavering commitment to the community that we serve. On December 1st, 2025, Metro Fire proudly celebrated 25 years of dedicated service. Over the past quarter century, we have faced challenges, embraced change, and forged lasting connections within the community. This journey has been marked by countless acts of bravery, compassion, and teamwork, all driven by our mission to protect and support our community. As we look back on the past 25 years, it's essential to acknowledge the individuals who've made this achievement possible. From our dedicated firefighters and professional staff to the community members who've supported us every step of the way. Each has played a vital role in shaping who we are today. One of those individuals is our first chief, Chief Martinez. I'd like to bring him up to the podium to share some of his reflections on our past, our present, and future we aim to build together. So please join me in welcoming Chief Martinez.
Good evening and thank you. Thank you, President Wood, members of the board, members of the audience, distinguished guests, and fellow retirees. It's nice to see you here. Well, 25 years. I have to admit, when Brenda first reached out to me and asked me to speak, I had mixed emotions, and due in large part that 25 years seems like a long time ago. However, it's really a blink of an eye. 15 years ago, I had the opportunity to stand before this board, maybe a few different folks, but this board at the 10-year anniversary. And that night I talked about sacrifices that others made to get Metro Fire to be Metro Fire. Yesterday, I was contemplating what I might say today, and I have to tell you, I've stood at a few podiums over the last few years, and generally, for 10 years representing this district, those were easier opportunities because we're very focused on an end game. Tonight is a challenge. It's a challenge because trying to encapsulate what happened 25 years ago in a few minutes is tough. as I started to say yesterday, as I sat and reflected, it occurred to me that my comments 15 years ago should have been different. I talked about sacrifices, but I really didn't talk about vision and contributions. This district has a rich history. We talk about December 1st, 2000, like it was the beginning of time, and it was just the continuation. It was by far an unusual time. I started with the district in 1995. When I was appointed, the board at that time had a very clear vision. They believed strongly in the regionalization of the fire service in Sacramento County, unwavering. They had three lenses that they looked at everything through. One was whatever we do, it has to serve the public. No loss of service, increased service. Two, it had to be financially viable long-term. And three, it couldn't be done on the backs of the employees. That board, most of the boards that I served under for 10 years, were very focused on those three elements: service to the public, financial stability, and the employees that work for the district. Recognizing that the district provides a service, when I want to say we, but when district employees show up in an incident, they don't paint your house or build a fence, but they provide a service. That service is delivered by people. And it was impressed upon me in the early days here that we need to always ensure that we recognize, respect, and take care of the folks that are taking care of the public. So as we approach 2000, and it was actually the fall of 1999 when the Sacramento County Board of Directors, Sacramento County Fire District Board of Directors, and the American River Fire Board of Directors both adopted resolutions of reorganizations, as we say in the business, substantially similar resolutions. It was really those three lenses that continued to be used to try to reinvent itself. But the fact of the matter is, and what people, I've had people actually explain the reorganization to me. I had someone who didn't work here in 2000 explain the reorganization to me, which I found interesting. But the fact is that this district has a rich history and an unusual history. On December 1st of 2000, there were some nearly 700 plus employees in the district. We really thoughtfully, consciously approached it as a new day. Technically, it wasn't. Technically, it was a reorganization. It was a disillusionment of Sacramento County and an annexation by American River. But it was thoughtfully done so everybody, every member of the district would feel like they were on the ground floor of something new. Very important. What's interesting, though, is we talk about 16 predecessor agencies. There's actually 18. If you look at the list, there's 16 listed. What isn't listed is American River and Sacramento County. But on day one, December 1st, 2000, we had 14 different fire departments represented by the employees. 14. Those 14 different fire departments, those 700 plus employees, most had gone through at least one change of organization, a merger or consolidation. Many went through two, some had gone through three. There isn't anything that district leadership, the board, myself, or anyone else could say that really could motivate them. Vision. The board had vision. I'd like to think I had a little vision, but the employees had a vision. Sometimes it's tough to measure success, but I can tell you it's very clear to measure success here because those 700 people came together, and I'll be really candid, not everybody was thinking this is the best thing since sliced bread, but they came together as a group. Day one, they went out the door as Metro Fire. And for the years that followed, they continued to strive. If I knew at the time what we were capable of, I would have been pretty amazed. But quite honestly, we were all pretty busy. But I sat down yesterday and put together a list of a few things. And I think it really demonstrates what success looks like. Sure, we were able to come out of the door the first day and continue to provide service, a unified service. Everything got done that needed to be done, whether it was from the professional staff, payroll and accounts payable and fire prevention, CDD. All those things continued on without a blip. But other things happened. In 4 years, the district trained, equipped, and certified its hazmat team. In 4 years, the district trained, equipped, and certified a rescue company. In 4 years, the district trained, equipped, red carded an air operations program. It expanded its participation in USAR. It adopted district-wide impact fees to help fund new fire stations. And then and all of those were done, they weren't top down. The board didn't say, hey, why don't you guys go out and start a hazmat group? I didn't say that. Almost every one of those programs were ground up programs. A firefighter, an engineer, or a captain said, why don't we try this? Why aren't we doing this? The success of the organization was to encourage and to support the vision. The contribution was of nearly every person on the floor. There are two others that I will take some credit for, and I've never really taken any credit, but these were two that were near and dear to my heart. First and foremost, when I was hired in 1995, the first thing that caught my attention is that we had a tremendous fleet. American River had an outstanding fleet, but our fleet facility for those that kept that equipment running was horrific. Our mechanics worked and our service techs worked out in the open, in the rain, and it was my first 90 days that I committed myself that we're going to fix this. This isn't right. So some of us worked very hard on McClellan and the base closure, worked very hard to keep it off the BRAC's list of closure. Hindsight being 2020, that was never going to happen. When the base closed, thanks to the vision of the board, they allowed me a great deal of latitude at the time. We were able to go out and we were able to secure a fleet facility that we would have never built, a state-of-the-art facility that our fleet staff deserved to work in. And of all the things that I've managed to participate in the last very long time, that was one that's near and dear to my heart. And every time I go by it, not very frequently anymore, but I think of most of the staff has changed, obviously, since I was here 20 years ago. But the fleet manager was here, and I'm glad to see Shay in the back of the room. The second one was regionalized training. Again, when the base closed, being a former training director, knowing that Sacramento County, American River, Florin, even the city of Sacramento, all had substandard training facilities, that the base closure provided us an opportunity. And I personally worked on the public benefit conveyance to get us a training ground at McClellan. I realize the district has gone in a different direction. Not for me to say, I've been gone 20 years. But my point is the acknowledgement and the ability to work on programs like that, for me, was terribly rewarding, something that I carry with me today. So I say that because it demonstrates a district that could have, on December 2nd of 2000, said, okay, got her done, and let it go. But instead, a number of programs were adopted by the district. I think all of them, save the regional training piece, are all in place today. The other element that I would view is how we were viewed from the outside. Somewhere between 2000 and 2005, we had, not only did our employees do a great job here, we had employees that were embedded with the California Office of Emergency Services Training and Exercise Division, the California Office of Homeland Security. We had them involved with the Urban Area Security Initiative and the Terrorism Early Warning Group. I might add that those employees that were embedded in those agencies, they paid for them. So it wasn't a freebie, but the folks here at Metro Fire were so well thought of that they were highly regarded and brought in to work in regional and statewide programs. And and kind of as an aside, it wasn't unusual for me to get a call from another agency and would ask, hey, we hear you guys are doing good things. Do you have any chiefs that are looking for a job? And that happened, and I'm not kidding, more than once. But the bigger thing is that, as I said, there's a service that's delivered in the field. It's a service that touches people, I guess, 100,000 plus times a year now. And that service is delivered by folks that are working very hard. Today, the call volume's through the roof. The expectations are over the top. But they do so with a great deal of pride. And when I look back on my 10 years with the district, I have a great deal of pride of having the opportunity to work with all of them. Most are gone. There are probably less than 10 people in this district, maybe 20, that were here in 2005. But I am proud of that opportunity, as you all should be. Going forward, vision and contribution. It's harder now than ever. It's harder for them, it's harder for you all. I think the public has an expectation. Sometimes it may not be realistic, and you've got to figure that all out. But I would tell you that to tap into the history of our predecessors with their vision and their contribution. I was blessed to be here for 10 years. I made a lot of good friends here. And the last 20, as I've watched from a distance, the district's still operating. That's a good sign. And then lastly, on a personal note, there's some retirees in the audience tonight. When I came to the district, I'd come from another fire department a long, long ways away, like 3 blocks. And, you know, the fact of the matter is here I was young, didn't have any experience as a fire chief, limited education. So I appeared like the perfect candidate. And the board was pretty clear. As I said, I went through an annual goal setting and evaluation, and the board was, they stayed the course for an awful long time. But my point is, one of the things that we did early on, it seemed like a great idea, is my wife and I, for 3 nights, we hosted a coffee with the fire chief for the spouses of district employees. And it was really a lot of fun. There isn't a lot of folks, I don't know, 20 or 30, mostly wives. There was one husband. And we just had a conversation about, you know, here's who we are. Tell us about what you think. And there was a couple takeaways, and 2 takeaways. One was pretty typical. We never hear anything. The district will be having something like the Easter egg hunt, and it never makes it home. What was born out of that was the newsletter. On the staff end, wasn't necessarily embraced because it was a lot of work. It was one of the few times when I said, we're going to do this and we're going to mail it home, because I want everybody in the household, for we're truly a family, I want everybody in the household to know what we're doing, though the newsletter was born. And then the other thing was strike teams. They go out on strike teams, going to hear from Eddie. So we started the family support piece, so that when we had strike teams or Easter activations, there was someone to call. Those were really important pieces. I say that as a lead up to this. Tonight, like so many other times, it was Brenda Briggs that reached out to me. Brenda is the contact that those of us that were former district employees, it's our linkage. She's good at keeping us informed. I would encourage you. I know Chief Farika is sitting here for Chief House tonight. I would encourage you at some point, I suspect, Brenda's going to retire. So when she does, I'd like to ask you to put an emphasis on that, because those of us who put so much time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears into this district, and there are a bunch, you have to remember, if you go back, the district was really formed in '83, and there were 18 reorganizations and mergers since '83. We've got folks all over the landscape. it's really important to some of us to continue to get that information. And so from me to you, thank you. And with that, I'll close. And just want to say thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. I will not be at the next 25-year celebration, but consider I'll be there in spirit. So thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight.
Wow. You know, I was sitting over there and I just was flashing back to sitting on a graduation stage behind Fire Chief Martinez back in 2001, right after the district became the district. And I was sitting there, sitting up straight like I was getting ready to graduate from the academy. And I will never forget this. And I don't know if the chief remembers, probably not. My badge clip had stuck and he couldn't get it undone to pin it on me that night. And it was smooth as glass. He reached in his pocket, pulled out his keys, was chatting with me, popped the badge open, slid it on. And I will never forget that. I mean, it was like, I can't believe that just happened. Never wavered. So thank you, Chief. I appreciate it. Before I start the official words, again, Brenda, thank you. I do want to recognize Chief House is watching. He's not here with us tonight. He sends his regards. He really wanted to be here as we recognize how important our family is. He is with family with some things that are going well. So I'm happy to say, but I did want to recognize Chief on the video, wherever it is. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you texting me and letting me know you're out there, and good luck with everything. So good evening, board members, colleagues, members, retired members, esteemed guests, and members of the public. I'm Adam Mitchell. I'm the Deputy Chief of Support and Emergency Medical Services. I'm still getting used to that one. I get it out and it's good. It's a tremendous honor to stand here during this milestone year, 25 years of unwavering service. We stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, especially our very own first Fire Chief, Rick Martinez, who helped merge the two great departments to create Metro Fire. Their courage, sacrifice, and vision laid the foundation that we continue to build on every day. In 25 years, the district has grown from humble beginnings into a modern professional force for safety and service. We've adapted to new technologies, expanded our training, and met growing demands, all while holding on to the core values that define us. This anniversary belongs to every member, past and present, who wears our logo. We've added new apparatus, improved our facilities, built partnerships, and developed specialty response capabilities that were only dreams back in the early days. You heard about a lot of them. Every improvement represents lives made safer, and that is the true measure of our success. The district doesn't just serve a community, we're part of it. From fire prevention efforts to school visits, from medical aids to disaster response, our mission is about more than just fire. It's about care, connection, and trust. As we look ahead, our focus is clear: continue growing responsibly, invest in our people, and ensure we're ready for whatever challenges we face in the next 25 years. We're exploring new technologies, expanding our training, and working to strengthen resilience across our communities every day. I'm very proud to serve alongside the dedicated men and women who live our mission every day to provide professional and compassionate protection, education, and service to our community. I'll close with, here's to another 25 years of service and to the next chapter of this incredible story of Metro Fire. Thank you, President Wood.
Thank you so much, Chief Mitchell. All right. I'm excited to invite our valued elected representatives to join us up at the podium. Thanks to their wonderful collaboration, these esteemed individuals are eager to present a resolution to Metro Fire. So we'll welcome them all to the front, and if each of you should come up, introduce yourself briefly, and then we'll capture everything with a photo.
As they're making their way up, Mr. President, what I do want to recognize Supervisor Rodriguez stopped by before the meeting on behalf of the Board of Supervisors in Sacramento and did bring a proclamation for us for recognizing our 25 years. And when right before we're done, we'll take a photo with that proclamation to provide for them. So
Thank you to the supervisor. Thank you.
Clearing? Are we clearing?
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for letting me be here. Directors, President Wood, and everybody else in the audience. My name is Matt Chicato, and I'm the District Chief of Staff for Congressman Barra. I'm here with my daughter because I need to show her that regardless of what you see in movies, heroes don't wear capes. They wear a Metro Fire badge on their right shoulder, and they are standing to help people in the most extreme circumstances that you can possibly be in. When folks call 911 and you answer with your red lights, they see a smiling face and they know just for a moment that maybe things will be okay. So on behalf of Congressman Barra and everyone who he represents, we want to say thank you for what you do. 25 years, happy birthday, and here's to 25 more.
Everybody's got to get it. Now we can go. Yeah, I'll believe you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, my name is Viviana Garcia. I'm here and I'm very honored to be here on behalf of Congresswoman Doris Matsui to present you with a congressional record in recognition of 25 years of bravery, grit, and a commitment to the safety of the people of the greater Sacramento area. So thank you to you, to all of the policymakers and everyone out there in the field. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Natalia Sachek, and I'm here on behalf of Assemblyman Josh Hoover. What an honor to be here. Congratulations, and we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully to see you on your 50th anniversary. Congratulations.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kasim. I'm a district rep with Senator Roger Nilo. It's an honor to be here celebrating this huge milestone, you guys. I just wanted to congratulate you guys with your 25 years. Thank you for all the positive impact and all the work you guys do in our community, and hoping, as Natalia said, see you guys here in another 25 years celebrating your 50th. I don't have a fancy proclamation. We're working on it. We don't have enough time to get it done, but I do have a certificate in the meantime.
Well, good evening, President Wood, directors, our colleagues at Sac Metro Fire, Ash Feeney, I'm City Manager for Citrus Heights. I'm joined with Commander Chris Fry from our Police Department, as well as Susan Tawar, who's our Administrative Service Director. for the city. And we're here on behalf of our city council, our mayor, our entire staff team, as well as the residents of Citrus Heights to help commemorate your 25 years. It's definitely a fantastic milestone to reach. And we have a fantastic service partner in Sac Metro Fire. Just appreciate the continued growth in our relationship. Has always been strong, but it's continuing to grow stronger as we are united in our mission to have a very safe public environment for those residents and businesses we serve. Appreciate the entire leadership team, as well as everybody that serves keeping the community safe. And under Chief House leadership, I'd say that bond is continuing to grow stronger. We have Sac Metro Fire staff that attend all of our council meetings, and just really appreciate the fantastic relationship that's been developed and continues to strengthen there. So it's an honor to be here to celebrate with you tonight.
Well, good evening. On behalf of Chief Alex Turcotte, my name is Chris Fry. I'm the Special Services Division Commander with the Citrus Heights Police Department. I just want to congratulate all the men and women of Sac Metro. I've had the honor and privilege to work with many of you over the last 20 years with Citrus Heights, and I can tell you this organization is second to none. And I want to appreciate all the professional partnerships that I've been able to develop over the last 20 years working with this organization. Congratulations on your milestone.
All right. Again, thank you all. Appreciate everyone being here for this occasion. And before we get on with our regular business, we just want to take a 5-minute break, give people a chance to move around if they want to, and we'll resume in just a couple minutes. Thanks again. All right. Thanks so much to everyone who participated in that celebration. We're going to get back into our regular meeting now. We'll move on to our second presentation item. It's ambulance and first responder fee study and ordinance process. Deputy Chief Mitchell and CFO O'Toole. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you again. There we go. Right. Thank you again. We have a short presentation for our ambulance and first responder fee study and ordinance adoption process that CFO O'Toole, myself will present to you. And then at the end of it, we're looking for a discussion from the board to gain consensus, and we'll talk more about that as we get closer. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and start off. So a little bit of background on how we in the past have developed our EMS transport and EMS service fees. Our last study at the magnitude that we're doing currently was back in 2017. It was done by a consultant, an outside consultant. The process was generally proprietary, and so we didn't have a lot of input into that, and we didn't have a lot of information about how that all worked. And so the questions that at the time we really couldn't get a lot of answers to, which drives us towards tonight. And I'll mention that here in a little bit. But we also did a adjustment back in 2023. We made a significant adjustment to the ordinance that was adopted by the board in 2017 back then. But it wasn't a comprehensive adjustment. It was more about making our fees come into alignment with some of our regional partners to make sure that we were in the range, and also make some adjustments for cost recovery. Our latest study, which we're here to talk about tonight, includes the full evaluation, utilizing the strategic initiatives that we've developed as the organization from you, how we have changed our EMS operations and deployment, some of the financial implications, and the policy review. The good news, we're incorporating things, not just what we're doing now, but also looking forward into the future, including things like transport to alternative destination or triage to alternative destinations. Our mobile integrated health unit not being grant funded, we're moving into the space where we're able to do cost recovery for providing that service, which will make that program sustainable, among many other things. So the process that we're undergoing right now is a 5-step process. We've done the first 2, and tonight we're at the 3rd process. So the first one I mentioned about strategic direction, the service delivery, coming out of our strategic plan, the 5 areas of focus from our current strategic plan, our service delivery, our capital assets, our financial management, which there'll be a big part of this conversation tonight. How do we address our ambulance patient offload times and some of those implications? And then we moved into the operational modeling. We talk about our standards of cover, our service delivery team, making some changes within that to add squads, to add BLS units, to do some different things in the deployment with our Metro Medic program, and ultimately resulting in better service to the community, but also offering the right care at the right time with the right resource. Tonight, we're in the financial modeling portion out of the 5 steps. So that's step number 3. The packet included the study that was completed by MBS. I know CFO O'Toole will talk more about it. So it looked at our current operational model that came out of the first 2 steps, and it reflects the actual costs that we are encumbering by providing the services that we're providing. So it gives us what the costs are utilizing the metrics of the consultant that we used. It's less reliant strictly on transports. It looks at some of those alternatives that I spoke about, different ways of being able to recover the cost for providing the service, but not just offering either a trip to the hospital or leaving you at your home. So it looked at a lot of those things to incorporate what we know now is different than 50 plus years ago when the first 911 call came in and Johnny and Roy showed up. So it's a little bit different now than it was then. We wanted to recognize that. And then we also, part of this is advising you on what the study results were, but also getting that direction back from you to staff about the policy ordinance direction that we need. Moving out of this phase, we move into that next piece, which is the policy ordinance adoption. So we'll take your feedback tonight. We'll as consensus, we'll as staff take that, develop a draft to be reviewed by you, and then if there's changes in policy, we will also look at those. That will come back to you as the fees that we're setting to provide the service. Also define our fee structure and establish policies like exemptions, exclusions, and anything else that comes up tonight. We'll take a look at those and bring them back. And then finally, once that occurs, that goes through the hearing process. Once those occur, then the policy, the new ordinance goes into effect at least 30 days past when the board adopts it as an ordinance. So there'll be 2 additional meetings after this one, and we'll talk a little bit more on the timing of that as we get through the next couple of slides. I'll turn it over to CFO O'Toole.
Good evening, Dave O'Toole, Chief Financial Officer. So I'm going to take the next couple of slides, starting with sort of a look back at what we've talked about related to the most recent fee study. So that, as the slide notes, on September 11th, the fee author, NBS was the name of the firm. They came here and presented their study, their number of questions related to the study. And the district, we held off from proposing any fee changes in order to have the second conversation tonight and come back with some responses to the questions that came up on September 11th. So real briefly, I made 5 points here of kind of major takeaways from that evening. Let's see, the first, or the fee collections are 30% of actual costs due mainly to federal constraints and Medicaid reimbursement. And fee recoveries in the district are in line with historical averages, as well as other emergency services in the region in California. The first responder and transport fees were combined. So it had been separately, they were proposed to be combined in order to improve collections of non-federal payers, which I'll get to in a minute. Treatment on scene fees are currently significantly below actual costs, approximately 1/5. That was one of the findings from the study. New MIH fees are proposed. We just heard it a moment ago, which would come online after the grant and contract funding runs out or portions of it run out and can be supplanted with fee income. The board discussed the purpose and necessity of night charge fees as well. So in consideration of this feedback, staff requested NBS make modest changes to the study, which I'm going to show on this next slide. There we go. Okay, it's quite a bit here, but I will just explain it as we go, sort of mostly top to bottom here. So the table shows the current and proposed rates, the NBS calculated and the district recommended. So there's the fee list listed in the far left column. There's a brief description of it. There's the rate currently, what we're charging today. There's what NBS calculated in the second to last grayed out column. And then the far right is what the district is recommending if they have a recommendation. As you heard, we're looking for some feedback tonight as well. Okay, so there's 6 fees in particular here on this slide where there are significant changes or board feedback is requested. They are the combined first responder transport fee, the treatment on scene fee, the MIH service from 911, the MIH follow-up, supplemental transport, and night charge. I'm going to go through those one by one. So first, the first responder transport fee at the top there. By way of background, the first responder transport fee is charged when an EMS response results in the dispatch of a first response unit, such as an engine or a truck, or the transport of a patient by ambulance to any other destination. The fee recovers the costs associated with first response, including personnel, equipment readiness, on-scene medical innovation, as well as ambulance transport, including either basic life support or advanced life support. The first responder fee and the transport fee are currently 2 separate fees as of today. At the district's request, NBS, the firm who performed the study, combined the first responder service with the transport fees in this version. That decision was made in an attempt to recover more allowable costs from insurance companies. Unlike the federal government and its Medicaid reimbursement caps, which we just mentioned around 30%, private insurers have no such caps. So there was recent legislation back in 2023 that enabled EMS providers who bill private insurers for both insurance under a single fee to recover both parts. Up to this point, we haven't been able to collect both parts. That was the main reason for putting them together. The district does not recommend a change to the fee level. As you can see in the columns there, the current rate and the proposed rate are exactly the same. Next, treatment on scene. The district currently charges $516 for services when either fire, first responders, or EMS personnel respond to a medical incident, but do not transport the patient. The NBS calculated expense for the services as shown is $2,338, incorporating all costs associated with treatment on scene and does not include ambulance transport costs. Treatment on scene includes BLS and ALS, basic life support, advanced life support, first responder assessments, and treatments. For some comparable agency perspective, the average of other nearby agencies who charge this fee is $684. So just wanted to share that as a reference point. And that's included in the study as well. This is where the board direction on the appropriate fee amount is requested. Next, MIH fees. There are 2 MIH fees, MIH service from 911 and MIH follow-up service. The MIH service from 911 fee would apply to calls where an MIH vehicle is dispatched to provide treatment on scene alongside a first responder. The MIH follow-up service fees apply to in-home or on-site visits conducted after the 911 encounter, or where the MIH team provides continued medical evaluation, education, or care of coordination. The district recommends that any new MIH fees go into effect in accordance with existing grant and contract language. So as if those were to go away, they'd be replaced by a fee. That's the proposal. Supplemental transport, that's here, and it's in the study, but it's not something the district is recommending. The cost was calculated to inform the district on current expenses that would be considered non-emergent scheduled lower acuity ambulance transport that do not originate from a 911 emergency call. The district has been advised by council that this is not currently a billable activity, and so we're not recommending implementation of that fee, but wanted to include it here because it was part of the study. Lastly, the night charge. This fee is assessed for services in the evening, early morning hours. Staff are recommending it be removed from our fee list. We've gone ahead and had the associated expense spread into other fee categories on the table. So you can see night charge has a 0 there. Recommendation is to remove that.
Sorry, quick question, Dave. Associated fees you said were spread through other. Can you talk about those associated fees?
Sure, it's the other fees on the page that
Oh, not respect to the night charge then?
Yes.
Interesting, that's,
Yeah.
okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification.
So again, with the night charge, I'm having a hard time with this. Do we incur higher costs for night? Do we employ more people at night? Why would that be in there in the first place? And why would there be a need to associate it with other fee programs when we're not hiring more people, we're not incurring more costs, all of that? So my question is, why is that being spread with these other components? Why is it not just removed entirely?
The specifics to your question, Director Weber, is the history of it. It's been there. It's a matter of past practice, but this is where we need the feedback to discuss exactly what you're talking about. The spread of the costs is something that we can do through ordinance to evaluate exactly what you mean by adjusting our fees. I don't have the exact history of when it started. It was in the fee structures back in the ordinance in 2017, also in 23. Taking the feedback from the board meeting where we discussed this study coming up that we had last time and recommending it go to a $0 for night charges. The result is what you're seeing. But to your question, we can absolutely look at what and I can't speak for how the consultant utilized it, or if it did end up getting divided evenly, or how that we could look at some of those and bring back some recommendations. If I'm hearing correctly about the consensus of the night fee, to answer your question, we don't employ other new folks at different rates and things like that. I could speculate that it came from private industry and what those costs could be associated, but I'm speaking from speculation, not that I know for sure.
I understand all that and I appreciate it. But again, further conversation is if we had what is it, $164, $128, whatever we were charging, in my opinion, it should go away, all the way, gone, and not spread somewhere else in this or buried somewhere else in this. That's my point.
Okay, thank you. Well taken. Thank you.
Just to follow up, if I may, on Director Weber's comments. The NBS has $128 for a calculated rate. And if we're not hiring new people, not paying a nighttime differential, where do they get that 128 if you know?
Sure. Yeah, I can't answer that specifically. We'll have to get back to you as part of the response. Yeah.
All right, thanks. Any other comments or questions at this point?
I was going to wait, Mr. President, until they finish their presentation. Then I have a bigger question for the group.
Okay.
Okay,
back to you.
We're almost there. So tonight, next steps, and we're going down that pathway already, which is fantastic, is consider discussing then you all providing us as staff direction on how we want to move forward with these. I think it's noteworthy that the study methodology that we asked the consultant, sorry, lost that word there for a minute. The consultant did what we asked them to do by giving us the numbers for totality of costs for our agency to provide emergency medical services, transport, treatment on scene, and all of those things. So that is valid. Those points and the dollars that came out of it through their metrics is valid. So it's good. It's also notable that those numbers that are up there are at the top of what could be charged, because as we are well aware, statutorily, legally, we cannot do money making. We recover costs for what we provide. So those numbers are at where they're at as an advisory for a top level. We can do, by your direction, via ordinance adoption, adjust those however you see fit as the board. And that's what we're looking for tonight, to have those conversations for us to dig back in and look. So once we take that back from tonight, the next steps that I mentioned before is the fee hearing process, which, taking your consensus, will bring back recommendations for an ordinance. Then we'll go through the 2 public hearing processes, ultimately resulting in draft and adoption of an ordinance that would go into effect. I do think it's very important to note philosophically that we do not want to rush this. We want to get it right versus get it done, so that we don't have to come right back and do a lot of tweaks. And so that's why we did slow the process down, and we're here now tonight to continue to do that, to make sure we get it right. So, and that is the end of the presentation.
Thank you so much, Chief. Go to Director Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Two comments. First off, I think it's important that our community understand that when we bill, we receive south of 30% of what it costs this community to provide this high level of care. I can't imagine a business surviving very long where that was the reality. So everyone that looks at these numbers and does a little bit of a freak out that it costs a lot of money to jump, and probably not jumping, but being carried into the back of an ambulance. We're doing an awful lot of service in this community where this organization does not receive even the cost that it implies when we provide that. That's the first thing. But maybe in a bigger way, Chief, I'm happy that this thing happens. I think it's good business practice that we maintain what is appropriate. I will tell you, however, I think we need to do the same dang thing for 911 dispatching. Somewhere we've got to cut off this incredible flow of people calling us for service, and they do not need a $3,800 ambulance ride. They've had the same condition for months, and now all of a sudden on a Christmas Eve, they decide that it's more than they can handle. And there's legitimate ones, but I'll tell you, I think in this community, we don't spend enough time, energy, and effort studying opportunities where we can stop the call for service at the very beginning. We need to do a better job at that. Our men and women are up after midnight all the time going on calls that frankly don't need a paramedic and an EMT. And that may hurt some people's feelings. I'll just tell you, get over it. You've got extremely well qualified medical providers who can assess you and tell you with a high degree of reliance that you don't need to be in the back of an ambulance to get to an emergency room. And this community as a whole, I think we really need to do these same kind of studies for how do we stop that? Because then our losses will be less, we'll be available to run more calls that are truly critical in our community, and it will have a downstream effect that will be quite positive for our men and women. We're burning them out because of the kind of calls that we let go through the system for some nebulous reason that we don't want to be sued. Okay. And so I just hope that as we move through this fee study and we make it happen because it's a positive thing to do for sure, that we also look back and say, what do we got to do to stop the hundreds of thousands of calls we're running where there's a percentage of it that simply is an abuse of the system? Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Director. Director Jones?
Yeah, thank you. I have a lot of concern about this overall issue. And again, we are beginning the discussion on this, so I'm open to any kind of strategy that can help us resolve this, or can resolve it for me. My concern is that, well, I chatted with Chief Mitchell, and he gave me stats about actual dollars and recovery and what would be added or lost depending on the outcome of our discussion over the next several weeks. I have a real, as a firefighter, I have a real problem reconciling the bills that we would send to Medicare, Medi-Cal, insurance companies, and having that same bill sent to individuals. It just rubs me wrong to have this done on the back of individuals as opposed to agencies, governance structures, et cetera. And just as Director Gould talked about ways to pull this back with dispatch concerns, we've been talking about that for a while. We need to come together as a policymaker group and say, we have to do this. We have to take care of, we have to triage at dispatch. And we've, over many years now, I know the politics goes up and down at the federal level, but we have been working with Holland and Knight on trying to get this Medicare reimbursement bumped up, expanded, and the same for the state. That we really need to push efforts there. I can't swallow sending a $3,000 bill to someone who is caught in the middle where they don't have adequate insurance or they have no insurance. That just seems too big a burden. for an individual person. So I'm very concerned about that. And I'd like to, I apologize, Chief Mitchell, I don't have those numbers and stats that we talked about, but again, further discussions, we can have information sharing about that. And I'm just concerned that this is done on the back of individuals. If it really amounts to, how much is our revenue for all the unpaid billed individuals? How much is that? Is it $500,000? Is it 2 million? How can we, I would like to look for ways and strategies to absorb that, or reaches the same goal, Director Gould, as not dispatching somebody, in the sense of the burden that we place on whomever happens to be the recipient of our response. Obviously, I'm going to have a whole bunch more thoughts on this, but that's my opening salvo for our discussion over time.
Director Sailors.
One thing that I have talked to you about in the past and am still concerned about is on our boundary, Metro's boundary area, where a Metro engine responds on a call and an ambulance from another district transports that patient. And then that ambulance bills, so that other fire department bills for the transport. And their billing includes a first responder fee. And then we send them, because our engine went on that call, we send them a first responder fee also. That, I think, is something that we have to figure out how to stop that. We have to figure out a way how to track where on boundaries, where another department, and it's probably happening the same way, when our ambulances go into another district and they are also sending a first responder bill for their engine or truck that responded. This is something I've had constituents talk about with me, and we need to resolve this because that is a double billing. And that's all I need to say. Thank you.
Director Stark.
I appreciate that this is a work in progress. So I know that we're going to be addressing a number of these issues going forward. I do also recognize the need to recover some of these fees. I know that Alameda City was one of the first departments to do community paramedicine, similar to our MIH. It was grant driven, but now they don't have any fees, so it's gone away. So it's important that we get money where we can. And I look forward to working with you guys and the board and staff to try to identify some areas where we can get the money in and other areas where it's not appropriate. With regard to some of the issues we're talking about, for example, treatment on the scene, I don't want to see any patients charged that didn't make the call. Sometimes I was a firefighter paramedic, and sometimes we get calls and that we show up and the person never called, somebody else called them. I certainly don't want to see them getting billed. PD calls sometimes they're overwhelmed or they're doing something else and they want to pass off the call. I certainly don't want PD to give somebody a bill that they didn't call for. In addition, I'd like to see that we work for a longer term solution with our federal and state government on both the reimbursement for Medicare and Medi-Cal, so we get as much of that as possible. But also that we look at ways to work with them to try to make other insurers. I know that some insurers, I believe that it's Kaiser does pay for some of these calls, and that some other insurers don't. I'd like us to look for some type of legislation, whether it be state or federal, to ensure that all companies have to pay for the services that we provide to their patients, their clients. It does save them money, especially if we're treating them and releasing them. The insurance company is saving money by that, so they should help us incur the cost or take care of part of the cost. Also, I've heard that the waiver process that we have for people who are low income is somewhat cumbersome. I think that it'd be important for us to work on streamlining that process, making it clear, making it more accessible to people who are not aware of it on our website, or maybe we hand them, the patient, the information when we treat and release them, for example, if they're low income. A process so that they're not confused. They don't have to call the bureaucracy and go through a whole process that they don't understand to get a bill that they can't pay anyways, right? But I do appreciate the work, and I know that we have to recover what we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Costa?
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. And thank you for bringing this forward and all the work you guys have done on it. I'd like to ask, we did receive some comments. So I'd like to thank the public for spending the time to provide those comments.
Thank you for bringing that up.
And in those comments, they've highlighted some concerns. They've also highlighted some solutions or potential solutions. And I think we owe it to them to take those back and quantify what that is, right? Because I think what we're talking about, and you provided some information, but we're collecting about 30%. And then on the first responders fees, it's about 23%. But what does that really mean as far as an impact to this organization and the impact in our budget? And I think those potential solutions that were suggested might be some good opportunities for this board to pivot from. So I think that's an opportunity for us. And then I think once we get to a place where we feel comfortable with what's being presented, we definitely need to communicate it broadly, because the public's going to be impacted with whatever decision we make, because either we're going to be charging them or this organization is going to be absorbing it, which will have its own impact to this organization. So I think those are some good opportunities for us to evaluate those gaps they've identified and those potential solutions. Thank you.
Director Weber?
Chief Martinez mentioned that in the early days, hazmat, rescue, helicopter, all that came from the line. And in your report, you have 2 testimonials from the line. You're asking for input from the board. I would like to have deeper conversations on some of those topics in there. There's some very, very good topics in there, and see how we can navigate that too. Not only for our district and our budget, but all of the residents that we serve. So just a thought. Dive into that a little deeper. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? I would also like to thank you guys for all the work you put into it. And my ask would be that you vet this very, very carefully and very thoroughly with legal. While there may be some utopian ideals that are good here, we may run into problems with disparate treatment if we pick we're going to bill this guy because he has insurance, but not this person because they don't. So I want to make sure we stay out of any legal trouble and still try to achieve the goals that have been stated.
Yeah, I appreciate that, President Wood. So just, if I may, just sum up what we're talking about here, is we're walking away by consensus of the board, providing us as staff feedback to go back and look at the things you're talking about. I wrote down exceptions to when first responder bills go out based off of some of the things I think Director Stark, you mentioned, Director Sailors, what our appeals process is, and streamlining that, reviewing that to come up with some ideas and some solutions, review the feedback we've received. And I appreciate that. I neglected to mention that during the presentation, we had received some public comment that you received via letter. As community members and some of our members, I appreciated that, to engage there, to look at some of those things. The follow-up communication plan, once this is adopted, we want to make sure we're communicating to our own members as well as the community, and really to come up with a draft ordinance that also meets the legal requirements, because there are some things that we need to be very aware of about disparate billing, and we can't change the rate depending on what kind of insurance you have per se, but by board ordinance, we might be able to do some of those exceptions that you're talking about. So that is what we could bring back to you for the public hearing and adoption at a later date. I think I captured all of that from what you were all talking about, and I appreciate your engagement in this, because it is important. We definitely want to get it right. We want to make sure we're recovering the costs, but we also want to do it right by the community as well as our members. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to move on to our action items. We're going to take just the first one. The next two we'll take after closed session. So on the first one, election of board officers. I'm going to turn this over to you, Ms. Roberta.
Yes, we need to elect our board officers for next year for 2026. So we need to elect a president, vice president, and secretary. So these all require a motion and a second. So if you're ready, we can do the president first. Would anyone like to nominate the president for 2026?
Mr. Chair and board members, I would like to nominate Director Costa to fulfill the role of president for 2026.
We have a second.
All right,
Great. I will take the roll.
please.
Director Sailors,
Aye.
Director Gould,
Aye.
Director Stark,
Aye.
Director Clark, Director Jones,
Aye.
Director Weber,
Aye.
Director Wood.
Hi.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Sorry, John, I didn't give you a chance to run away.
Thank you for the, who you accept. Yeah.
He didn't get a chance.
Yeah. Our next would be for Vice President for 2026. Do we have a motion?
I'll move Director Weber.
Second. Jeez. Wolves.
And I'll take the roll for that. Director Sailors,
Aye.
Director Gould,
Happily, aye.
Director Stark,
Aye.
Director Clark, Director Jones,
Aye.
Director Costa,
Aye.
and President Wood.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
No more secretary or treasurer? Darn it.
Now we need a motion and a second for a secretary for 2026.
I will move Director Brian Rice. I did speak with him on Saturday and he stated he will be able to fulfill the obligations of that role next year and he would gladly take it.
We have a second? Okay. Director Sailors,
Aye.
Director Gould,
Aye.
Director Stark,
Aye.
Director Clark, Director Jones,
Aye.
Director Weber,
Aye.
Director Costa,
Aye.
President Wood.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll move on to reports. I'll start with my report. I want to say thank you to everyone. Been a lot of work this last year. It's been fun. It's been exciting. It's been very challenging as well, much more so than I remember my last time in this chair. So I do appreciate everything, all the support, all the time that everyone from you, Marnie, the assistant chiefs, deputy chiefs, HR, meeting with Matt and Shay, and it's been a good year meeting with everybody. So I appreciate all of that. John, you're going to have a lot on your plate next year. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on, fire chief's report, Chief Eureka.
Good evening, directors, colleagues, and members of the public. I'll be providing the fire chief's report this evening. Last night, 7 of our members were deployed with USAR Task Force 7 to the flooding events in the state of Washington. Updates will be sent out as we receive more information. And moving on, tonight we have the honor of recognizing one of our urban search and rescue professionals and officially welcoming 2 new search canines into the Metro Fire family. Sacramento USAR Task Force 7 is one of only 28 teams nationwide and one of just 8 in California. Established in the early 90s, it is one of the original federal task forces. Our team includes highly specialized members in rescue, medical, structural engineering, hazardous materials, logistics, planning, and canine search. Our canine search team was established in 1996. Since that time, we have deployed 10 search canines and 8 handlers in support of local, regional, and national missions. This evening, we recognize engineer and handler Brandon Anderson and his 2 search canine partners, Timber and Olaf. Engineer Anderson has been part of USAR Task Force 7 since 2015. His first canine partner, Winnie, served with distinction until her passing in 2023. He was paired with Timber in December 2024 and with Olaf in February of 2025. Both are now fully FEMA certified. Search canines train daily, year-round, under demanding conditions that prepare them for the most complex and high-risk rescue environments. Their handlers complete extensive specialized training as well, forming an operational partnership built on trust, precision, and constant readiness. The badges these canines receive tonight are not ceremonial. They are official credentials that authorize critical access during real-world disaster deployments and represent operational status within our USAR system. It is my honor to assign badge number 9 to Timber and badge number 10 to Olaf. At this time, I would like to invite Engineer Anderson to the podium to share his remarks.
Mike, wait a minute. I love Olaf. That's awesome.
What are we doing now?
Yeah. Where's the cookies?
Good evening. First thing, I need to thank my wonderful wife, Kayla, back there, my daughter, McKenna. They allowed me to donate so much time and energy and money to these dogs, and not just to help us, our community, but anyone, anywhere in the United States. I work about 15 days a month, and the rest of that, she knows that I'm not with the family. She donates like the rest of that time with these dogs, which not many people have to share their husband with a couple of dogs. And then Chief Barthel, and I'm not sure what Chief made the final decision, but it's been a long 10 years trying to get this. So thank you for issuing these badges for the canines. While it may seem purely symbolic, there is a purpose for this. Most pets, while pets are allowed in many places in society, while pets are allowed in many places in society, there are also many places where they cannot be, either legally or due to preference. With these USAR canines, I routinely travel all around the country for deployments, evaluations, to evaluate other canines for FEMA or for training opportunities. Many hotel and car rental agencies don't allow pet dogs, but they'll allow service animals, which these are not technically service animals either. Flying on a commercial airline can be a headache with or without a dog, with TSA just being the first headache or hurdle. Much like us firefighters, when we used to do inspections or we go out for training in public, if we have our badges on, we are usually granted access for what we need to accomplish with minimal pushback, just based on being professional with our uniform and our badges. When places like airlines or other public spaces see these, as well as myself in uniform, what I mean is a badge on the canine, as well as myself in uniform, not only can they assume the dog is trained to behave, but more importantly, I am trained on handling the canine, keeping it away from other people, their food, kids, other dogs. And if somebody's allergic, it's my responsibility to keep my dog away from an allergic person. Unfortunately, not everybody in society adheres to that. And okay, relax. Also, like when we travel on airlines, it's my responsibility. The dogs don't get food or water for a full day before, just because you can't risk an accident on an airplane. Nobody wants to deal with that. I don't take this responsibility lightly, and I know that myself and my canines have and will continue to represent Metro Fire with the highest standards. Thank you.
Yeah. Can we get Chief Farika? These are the people I want pictures with, because they're like, can we come up and participate? Come on, let's go get pictures with them.
No, dogs are the best people. Yeah.
Is this you, Sean? Yeah. Well, thank you. That's very kind.
Yeah, mine is too. I did not put enough time in there. Yeah, it's operator for sure. Yeah.
Well, he's got two, so he gets dispatched where they take both.
You're asking long people.
Right.
We got pictures of the new employees.
I think it depends on.
The Black Labs like.
So you had a question, Dr. Gould, about?
So can you tell us, they're so highly trained and you put in thousands of hours. What specialty do either of or both dogs have that the community can understand?
So Timber was professionally trained by an organization down in Ventura that takes dogs out of shelters, and they only train live fine dogs. So he's the hero. He will go out if somebody is suspected to be alive. So, we have that window of opportunities, usually 4 to 7 days.
Okay,
For stuff like that, mostly in California is an earthquake threat.
sure.
Usually when we go out to other places, unless we're pre-positioned, it's usually outside of that window.
Okay.
So he's professionally trained for a live find. Olaf was meant to be a family pet, and we realized that he's terrible at that job. So my wife said to fix him, and the only training I know is this.
Yeah.
Having 2 live find dogs may or may not be pointless. So the USAR team was in need of a human remains detection canine.
Okay.
And unfortunately, there's a lot more people that don't survive these catastrophes, that the window is kind of infinite. So like in Texas, we were there. There's still people in Texas looking with dogs. So unfortunately, he will get a lot more work, but they both have their purpose, and thank you again.
Thank
More
you for that
questions?
clarification.
Do you take them both?
I was asked to go, if I wanted to go to Washington yesterday, and the goal was to take them both. So depending on the mission, if we're going there to kind of pre-position, I will take them both. That way we can do both jobs. But usually it's like to Texas I just took the lifeline one because we were there so long after there's any chance for survivors. So it's kind of mission dependent, but usually one or the other.
Is that, I was on Task Force 4. Is that, and I never saw anybody with 2 dogs. Is that unusual?
The human remains detection canines are kind of a new thing with FEMA. I think it started after the last Washington mudslide in Oso. They realized that they were there for 2 weeks and there was no use for lifeline canines, and they were calling in like wilderness canines that didn't have the same standards as FEMA canines. So FEMA adopted the same standards, and just with the odor is different.
I see. They
live
didn't have
versus
that part.
dead.
Got it. Great, thank you.
Thank you so much to your family.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of Metro Fire, we thank Engineer Anderson for his dedication, and proudly welcome Timber and Olaf into the Metro Fire family. That concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you so much, Chief. Any comments, questions for Chief Federica? All right. We'll move on to Sacramento Firefighters Local 522 report. Do we have anybody here for that? Nope.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I had Captain Schollard on my agenda, so I was looking for him.
Did, but you got me today.
Good, welcome.
So, good evening. For those of you that don't know me, I think most of you do. I'm Captain Oberlander, Stephen Oberlander, Station 24, and one of the deputy directors with Local 522. Welcome this evening. First off, Director Wood, I want to thank you for your service as president and congratulate Director Costa in your upcoming role. A lot of good things today. I'm going to keep this report very quiet and simple. First off, it's awesome that we're recognizing the USAR team and what we're doing with our members, and see the bench clear out. Everybody wants to take a picture with the dogs. We love the dogs, right? What didn't get highlighted enough is the sacrifice that those members do. The hundreds, and you mentioned thousands of hours that are on their own time, away from their family. These members find their own trades. They burn their own vacation to accomplish this training. What I would ask is we recognize the importance and the hard work that they do. Let's give a little more support and some AD time for those members that are doing the training, and show that respect to the families giving up their members to do it. This is a great resource to the community, to the task force, and to the regions that they go out to help and search for people, and it's well deserved. There's great things that I heard today from Chief Martinez talking about the history of the department. I've always been a fan of speaking to the older generations before me, the retirees, those going out the door and learning just what the job was before I got here, what changed, what worked, what didn't. And there were some good things that I heard about how this department early on was built from the ground up, from the membership, from the line. I think if we got back to that, we could solve a lot of our struggles and concerns. Very things that I just heard you guys talk about, from the fee schedule to the calls we got on. Director Gould, you're always welcome to come back to the firehouse, because some of those comments you made about the calls that our responders are going on, yes, we need to have those conversations. And I think we have a great opportunity. Everybody in this room, everybody wearing the badge and the patch, they want to take care of the public. They don't want to worry about who's getting a bill. We don't want a family member or someone in the public to not call 911 because they're in fear of getting a bill. But on the flip side, we also need to do a little more education on what 911 calls are, right? And take care of our own members so that they can take care of the public. So that's all I got this evening. Thank you all. Hope you had a good holiday, good Thanksgiving. Hope you have a good Christmas and New Year's, and looking forward to what 26 is going to bring us, and meeting with each one of you individually. Now, as always, you're welcome in my firehouse anytime. All right?
Thank you. Any questions, comments for the captain? No? Thank you so much. Happy holidays. All right, moving on to committee and delegate reports. The executive committee has not met and has no report out. Com Center JPA, Deputy Chief Eureka.
Good evening again. The Communication Center JPA Board last met on December 9th. During that meeting, the board approved a retroactive MOU between the Comm Center and the County of Sacramento for a 90-day pilot program in support of a bilateral referral process and data sharing. This is another step forward in improving member safety and service related to behavioral health emergencies. Our next meeting is scheduled for January 13th, and I'll take any questions if you have them.
Do you have any questions for the chief? No? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on to Finance and Audit Committee, Director Jones.
Thank you very much. Finance and Audit Committee, our next meeting is January 22nd at 5:30 p.m. in these quarters. Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, Policy Committee, Director Costa.
Thank you. The Policy Committee met today and we approved revisions to the workplace harassment policy and then moved it forward to the full board. Our next meeting is scheduled for February 12th. End of report.
Thank you. Moving on to board member questions and comments. I will start to my right with Director Sailors.
Thank you, President Wood. I just want to say, tonight we did a lot of work and a lot of good things, and I am looking forward to next year and a lot more good things happening. I want to wish everyone out there a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see everyone next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Director Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just really quickly want to thank you for your time and talents that you've expended this last year. It's always a good thing when we don't have major issues because I know the president typically has to address those in private and manage those. And so thank you for your time away from your family. Director Costa, my condolences as you move forward in that role. It is quite exciting. And thank you for all the presentations we had and all the people that have put this celebration of 25 years. I think both Director Jones and I can appreciate how quickly that's gone. I remember fondly as a very young man, extremely young, when I joined the board at Sac County. And there was a gentleman on the board that time that had been serving for 27 years, and I thought the guy was cuckoo. How could you possibly do that and have a normal life? But flash forward, here we are. I'd like to end, and this year I've been really focused on hunger around the world. And I'd just like to challenge all of you, and myself included, that we think about service beyond self, and that during this relatively cold season right now, there are people that are not only cold, but incredibly hungry. And could we just for a minute take something out of our pantry, make something, bake something, and go to someone in your neighborhood who may be hungry? I'd ask you to do that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Director. Director Stark.
Thank you. I want to thank you for your service as president. It's been a wonderful first year working with you, as I've just finished my first year. It's been great working with all of you. And I really appreciate everybody in the district, from the line personnel, the chiefs, the staff. Everybody's been really helpful. And I've been very impressed with this organization from top to bottom. And I want to wish everybody a happy holidays.
Congratulations on that first year. Director Jones.
Thank you very much. I have a number of thank yous and shout outs for folks. I'd like to thank Brenda and her crew for organizing our 25th anniversary celebrations that have been going on for quite some time. Thanks so much. I thank you to all of our guest speakers for their kind and thoughtful words. They're greatly appreciated. I would also like to thank Director Wood for his work as board president in 2025, and I welcome and offer my full support to our incoming president, Director Wood. Or correction. Oh, I put you up for re-election. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. To Director Costa. I'm sure you're going to have the full board support, and best of luck. No, I sincerely do mean that. Then let's see. Hey, thanks to everyone for initiating discussion on our ambulance and first responder fees. That's what we need to do more of, and we will do it in 2026 to have genuine, real discussions where we go back and forth with ideas and strategies for the best way forward. So thank you to everyone for doing that. And finally, Merry Holidays to all.
Director Clark. Sorry, I'm looking at you.
Let's do that.
I forgot to call on you, Director Clark.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I'd like to thank you for your year of service. It was very challenging, and you handled it well. I'm looking forward to working also with Director Costa in this coming year, 2026. I want to thank everyone for their presentations. It's always fun dealing with the dogs, and I love dogs. Also, I would like to thank April West and also the crew from Station 110, Captain Ryan Ross and firefighter Catherine Van Horn for helping us out with the Ralph Richardson Elementary School. It's a school for special kids, and it's something that we do every year along with the Labor Council. We've been doing this with Metro Fire for I think it's over 60 years. And there's nothing more exciting to the kids to see Santa show up on the fire engine. There's something about that, Santa sleigh that they get so excited. It's like rock stars showing up. It's a very good thing for me because it kind of lets you appreciate what you have and that your kids are, well and, and they don't have the same challenges like a lot of these kids have. It's very humbling. Also, I would like to wish Metro, we thank Metro for a happy birthday, 25 years. And finally, wish everyone a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you, Director Clark. Director Weber.
Echoing everything that the board has said, thank you for your leadership and guidance. We've had a handful of conversations over the years, and you've always treated everyone with dignity and respect. I sat in your chair once, and it's not easy wrangling these cats, so I thank you very much for that year. Secondly, Merry Christmas to not only our Metro family, but all of our citizens we provide service to. I'd like to thank all of our partners, regional partners, for all of the very nice accolades that they presented us with tonight. And lastly, I would like to thank Brian Rice, Director Rice. He recently put out a video on California professional firefighters. If any of you saw the Firefighter Watts video, it's tough to watch, but I applaud Director Rice for being so open and so vulnerable to do that. It's incredible. My wife asked me after watching it, she goes, are you going to tell your story? And I said, no. I don't want anyone to know how messed up I am, but I applaud Rice that I can't even imagine how difficult that must have been. So if you haven't seen it, CPF, look at it. It's worth the watch. You'll learn a great deal about Director Rice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Weber. Director Costa.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too would like to thank you for your leadership, more importantly, your steady leadership and your patience, as I'll be leaning on you heavily next year. And thank you to the board for your faith and all your support. I look forward to continuing to work with all of you. I want to thank the men and women of this organization for everything they've done today and everything they will do through the holidays. Nothing like sacrificing while everybody else gets to enjoy. And then I was struck by Chief Martinez. He said, remember the vision and all the contributions that everyone makes. I think it's important as we move into the new year, remember those contributions, because at the end of the day, we are a family and we only survive and get through this together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One of the joys of going last is everyone's already said everything so wonderfully and eloquently. So I will echo what's been said. I will add, though, that again, look forward to working with you and congratulations. But this organization is going to be in very good hands. We got a lot going on next year, but not just you, but Director Weber, Director Rice. Can't think of three people to sit here and lead the organization through what'll be a year full of some pretty good times, pretty challenging times, but I know you will have great assistance on either side of you. Thank you to everyone. Appreciate all the time and energy that's gone on. Thanks to our regional partners for their time and the accolades they gave us. And I just want to say, I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you all in January. And we're going to go into closed session now. We have a couple of items to report out of closed session.
Yes, so thank you, Director Wood. The board met in closed session. This is a report out from the closed session proceedings. On agenda item number 1, conference with labor negotiator. The board met with its designated negotiator with respect to the employee organizations listed in the agenda. No reportable action was taken. On the second agenda item, the board met on 2 matters of industrial disability retirement. One for Brendan Brown, one for Eric Kellenberger. No reportable action was taken. Those will be, per the agenda, acted upon in open session. Finally, item number 3, the Government Code, Section 910 claim for damages filed by Colleen Young with the Sac Metro Fire District. The board unanimously agreed to give direction to the board clerk to return the claim of Ms. Young as untimely under the pertinent provisions of the Government Code. So that's my final report out from the closed session. I'd like to congratulate the new executive officers that are coming on board, Director Costa, Director Weber, and Director Rice. And Mr. Costa or Director Costa, I'll be in touch with you over the next few weeks since you're the liaison with the legal counsel. So from time to time, I need to do that. So I'll talk to you about that. And with that said, I'm finished, other than to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays to everyone. Thank you.
All right. Do we have a motion on Brendan Brown's matter?
Chair, I make a motion that we adopt the resolution.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Can we get the roll, please?
Yes, Director Sailors,
Aye.
Director Gould,
Aye.
Director Stark,
Aye.
Director Clark, Director Jones,
Aye.
Director Weber,
Aye.
Director Costa,
Aye.
President Wood.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And do I have a motion on the matter involving Captain Kellenberger?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we adopt the resolution from Mr. Kellenberger.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Can we get the roll, please?
Yes, Director Sailors,
Aye.
Director Gould,
Aye.
Director Stark,
Aye.
Director Clark, Director Jones,
Aye.
Director Weber,
Aye.
Director Costa,
Aye.
and President Wood.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
All right, thank you. And our next meeting will be January 8th, 2026. Hope everyone has a wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas. And for the last time, we're adjourned.